Hey, what's going on, people? Today's video is racism, something that absolutely pisses me off. Okay, growing up in a white household back in the 80s and 90s, there was a lot of racism going on. My family really weren't a fan of black people or Asian people. There was a lot of sly disses, there was a lot of looks at people. They really didn't, basically a lot of people of that time were like that. Now, growing up in a racist household with the adults, I used to look at life like I can't understand racism. My nan was Jehovah's Witness, so she taught me to love everybody, and that's how life should be, okay? So I grew up with the mentality of you don't judge somebody for their colour of their skin, or you, if someone's from a different country or different heritage or whatever, you don't hate them for that. You can hate somebody for their personality or the things they do in life, but to hate somebody for their race, that makes you very stupid, doesn't it? Okay, now I grew up in a house like that, I had family like that. I always remember I had a dark-skinned headmaster, and as a kid I wanted to draw him a picture of a ninja. I drew this picture of a ninja and I said to my dad, does this look good? And he said yes. I took this into school, and as a kid I wrote the words, the N-word, okay, the N-bomb. It weren't the word ninja. My dad allowed me to go to school and give that to my headmaster. That's cunty, innit? And I got in crap for that, and obviously he see the mistake of that. That wasn't a purpose thing. I didn't do that on purpose. Okay, but racism has always been in my family. There's always these issues with people, from people on telly, but at the same time these people will listen to Michael Jackson or Whitney Houston music, or Tracy Chapman. I never understood that. Do you know what I mean? That's them closet racists, isn't it? Okay, now growing up I turned to hip hop. First of all, it was Bart Simpson. He brought me onto hip hop, okay? And then from that it was Ice-T, Home Invasion, Cypress Hill, Black Sunday, Snoop Dogg, Doggy Style, and it went from there. Okay, I used to obtain my hip-hop music any way I could. Now, my stepmom and dad used to have a massive problem with this hip-hop, okay? I used to have my hip-hop connection posters all over the wall. I used to have my recordings of Yo MTV Raps, Westwood, okay? And they would steam my bedroom as a child, maybe 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. I was having my room steamed like it was being raided, like a prison cell. And they would steal all my hip-hop. They would take all my tapes, all my posters, rip them off the wall. They didn't want me having hip-hop. They'd rip up my lyrics. I went to live with my nan as a child, about 14, 15. I went out, I come back, and I found all my lyrics ripped up in the bin. These people really didn't want me to make hip-hop. Hip-hop weren't a bad thing to me. That was something I could express myself with, okay? So, like, hip-hop, I've always had love for hip-hop. It's massive. My love is for that culture, 100%, okay? There's nothing else I love like hip-hop music. Okay, now growing up I wanted to be a rapper. I spent my whole time writing poetry. Obviously later on in life I was jailed, but that's not what we were talking about. 20 years old, I fell in love with a mixed race girl. Before that I'd lived in Tottenham, North London. I've been with a lot of mixed girls, dark-skinned girls. I never went with a white girl till I was 23, I think it was. Okay, so I've always been into mixed and dark girls too. All my friends in Tottenham were yardies. Around the TMD era, they were good times. Okay, so at 20 I fell in love with a mixed race girl from up Manchester, and I got her pregnant, and she was carrying my baby, obviously. Now, my dad wasn't too happy about this. Okay, he didn't want a mixed baby or a black baby in the family. We lived all together. We lived in Grays for a little bit in Essex. We then moved to, we stayed in Peterborough. No, we actually lived in Cheshire for a bit. We stayed in Peterborough around the race war times. Burnley Bradford times. That wasn't nice. That's a whole different story. Okay, that's how I experienced racism there, right? After that, we moved up to Manchester, and that's where my daughter was born, up north, okay? Now, I love my little girl more than anything. My girl is my princess. I love that baby girl. From the minute she was born, that was the apple of my eye, the happiest day of my life, okay? I cannot explain or duplicate that happiness ever again, okay? That was my daughter, Alicia. I love that baby girl. Now, my daughter's mum's family, they loved Alicia too. But my family, I phoned up my dad, and I said to him, my daughter's been born. And he disowned her at birth. On the phone, he disowned my daughter on birth. Now, my dad's a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. Now, my brother and sister were young, and my stepmom was his Joey. So basically, they all followed suit. And it led to the point that my sister was actually going to run away from home to come and see her niece. It was a really bad time. I used to phone and beg my dad, and he'd basically get off on it, a proper narc. Now, that caused so many problems for me and my daughter's mum. I love my daughter, she loved our daughter. and my family didn't want to know her. That broke me inside. I so needed my family to love her. Okay, that really did hurt me. To this day, this hurts. You can see the pain in my eyes. Okay, I still hurt from that. Okay, I ain't afraid to tell anyone what my family done to me, bruv. Okay, I got tears in my eyes. Don't make me a pussy. Don't make me a pussy. It shows I love that little girl, and they took her from me, bruv. They took her. Okay, at 9 years old, because I had all this money from a rich woman, okay, I was allowed to see my little girl again. I see her for a few months. I had her in Blackpool, I had her in Manchester. We'd done all these cool things together. I kitted out her room in Me To You stuff, okay? Then my daughter's mum, the cruel bitch, okay, played them games again with my stepmom. I made sure I'd never see my daughter. My daughter didn't want to talk to me no more. I tried to take my daughter to Disneyland, right? She didn't want to know. None of these things made sense, okay? This hurts me, okay? So I end up in jail for telling my story. Okay, my daughter was disowned at birth by my racist family, bruv. Wrote about that story and had me jailed. Okay, that's what this cut on the face is all about. Okay, that hurts me, right? So then it turns out, later on in life, through years later, my stepmom and my sister's always been close to my daughter. But she loved her from day one. That's the only one that really did. Okay, that's my honest opinion. My brother was too young. But my stepmom, she started to send presents. She started to get close. I started to see she was on her Facebook. Okay, on her Facebook. The family disowned her, bruv. Okay, but you got on your Facebook birthdays, Christmases, everything I missed. My daughter's 19 years old. That's been 10 years from 9 years now. Okay, and they get to see my little girl. They get to talk to her. They get to my daughter calls my stepmom nanny. She don't even refer to me as dad. Okay, that's the manipulation, that's the smear campaign, that's the dustiness of these narcs and what they've done to me, bruv. Okay, imagine you love your little girl more than anything in this world and they take that from you. Okay, this is what I've had to live through. Okay, seriously, it's all a big game. Now try and explain that to someone. How comes the stepmom, who's no relation to my little girl, has regular contact and is called nanny by this rich woman that's buying her silence with my dad's money she got from divorce court, but I can't be a little girl to that dad? That's the wickedry, that's the fuckery of this family, okay? I'm not afraid to tell you this story, but it hurts. Okay, Alicia, if you see this video, I love you, innit? Okay?